Am I live? Am I on? Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I am reclaiming my time on a Sunday night in the middle of the night. If you guys don't know anything about me, I'm a night owl, like a major night owl. I don't sleep at all. So, I want to talk to you all about something before we begin this week. My thing that I want to talk to you about is this. I was I was sitting here pondering some things, and I was looking at a show, and one of the ladies, when they were speaking, she said that she would be feminine for the right man that comes along. She said that it takes the right man to bring her to her femininity. So, can we talk about this really quickly before the week begins? Do you think that femininity is a luxury? Do you think that being feminine only comes because your surroundings are amped for you to be feminine? Is it your surroundings that make you feminine? Or is it your femininity that makes your surroundings pleasant? That's what I want to talk about today. I want to check too. Hold on one second. I'm looking over here. So my computer is over here. So I'm looking at the comments because I want to see what you all are saying. I want to welcome in Theo, 11 Smith, Jonathan. Hi, Monica. Hold on one second. BTK. Hi, Teddy. And Noemi. So Noemi says femininity is innate. That's another thing that I was wondering. Is femininity a taught thing? Is that something that you have to be groomed and taught to be? Or is it something that you are naturally? So I have a theory. My theory is this. When humans were in the beginning, like way in the beginning, before we had any culture, before we had language, before we had anything, I do believe that everyone was pretty masculine. This is just my theory. I believe that everyone's pretty masculine because when you're in survival mode, there is no time for femininity or allowing people to lead because you're in survival mode. But I do believe that as we humans began to create tribes and groups and so on and so forth, I believe that natural order and hierarchy began to happen. And I think this is how women realize that men should be leading because they are the stronger of us. And that's how I believe femininity was born. So, is femininity a luxury? Is femininity something that only happens when a man makes a perfect area for a woman, when he lays out that area for her? Have you all seen women who say, you know, I can't be feminine for this guy because he doesn't allow me to be feminine? Because I have to be masculine for him because he's feminine. So if you have two feminine people, then I have to start being masculine because this man is too feminine. Does that make sense to you? Because yes, it is true, in my view, it is true that you can have a void of masculinity or femininity. But does that mean that you, as a woman, have to fill that void? Does it mean that you are the person to fill it? Do you think that if you laid back into your femininity, that masculine person who's acting feminine might turn around and begin to be more masculine because he recognizes that there's a void? I just this has really been on my mind all day today, and I said I have to bring this topic up. So just really quickly before we get into it, I want to recognize the people here. So let's see. Dale says hello. Hi, Dale. And hi, Naomi. Hi, Michael. He says all things come from within. From within. And then Lone Star says most women are lying big time when they say that. You can't negotiate your nature. He says it's either pleasant in you or is it? Oh, sorry. It's either present in you or it's not. Can femininity be turned on with a switch, and can it be turned off? If this is the case, then why is it true femininity if you can just turn it off whenever you feel? I give you an example. For a lot of people, especially women, when we say, I'll be feminine and I'll be submissive to this person, but to this one, no. Or you'll say, if the person is right, I will do it, but if he's not right, I won't. Let me ask you this. If there is a condition to your femininity and your submissiveness, then what happens when that person acts out of character? What happens if the person that you're being feminine to or submissive to all of a sudden loses character? What if he starts messing up one day? Do you switch out of that because it's in you? Here's my theory. If you have this in you and you see your femininity as a conditional thing, then you are faking it. This isn't real. I wanted to bring up a point. A lot of women say, I will not treat every man as I would treat my husband. I will not treat every man as with the same respect or the same, how can I say this? It's the same feminine style that I would treat my husband with. My thing is, you don't have to go to the extremes. You don't have to treat every man as you treat your husband. But one thing you should be is submissive to the men in your tribe. At least that's the least you can do, is be feminine to the men in your tribe. Not, I'll give you an example. In our culture, us Arab women, when we are out, let's say we are out at a mall. We're at the mall, we're with our girls. I'm with my girls. Something happens, and one of my girls maybe acts crazy or she tries to start a fight. If there is an Arab man there, he will likely come over and address that Arab woman, possibly even in our language, and say, act right, don't do this or don't do that. Will that woman say, you're not my husband, you can't tell me what to do? No. She will submit and she will say, you're right, brother, you're right, I was wrong. Please don't tell my father. So this is just an example of how in our own culture, you should submit to the men in your culture as well. That's the least you can do. Honestly, I believe that you should be feminine no matter what. There shouldn't be any conditions to your femininity. If you are a submissive person, you just are. Does that mean that you have to listen to everyone in the world? No. But at the same time, you're not going to be combative. You're not going to be combative and you're not going to be rude because you are a feminine lady. And a lady doesn't act that way. So I wanted to bring up that point, guys. And I want to hear, Takeem says, why are you up so late? I'm up late because I don't sleep. I am a night owl in all definition of the word. I am a night owl. P says, such a late stream. Exactly. I know. And then Thomas says, what's going on? Now Ameera up late talking about small world. Right? So let's see. So, okay. Another thing that I wonder about is this idea. I heard that, I don't remember where I heard it, but someone said that getting your woman to be feminine is up to the man. That the man is the one who makes this environment good for her to be feminine, for her to rest in her femininity. Do you agree with that? Because I don't. I don't believe that my husband, because of the lifestyle that I live, because of what my husband gives me, I don't believe that that is what makes me feminine. I was feminine when my husband met me. My husband didn't make me this way. He did not make me this way. And I know a lot of people kind of see that. They try, like a lot of people say, well, if the man is this way, then the woman will be that way. Sometimes, but there are some things that are in your core. And as a woman, one of those core things should be your femininity, your etiquette, the way you look, sound, smell, act, everything. All of these things are very important. And when I talk about femininity, I do want to bring up 3 points that are important in my book for women. Number 1 is how we look. Number 2 is how we smell. And number 3 is how we sound. I think those are the first 3 things that a person is going to notice about you when they encounter you on the street, at a party, at a dinner. Those are going to be the first 3 things that they're going to notice about you. How you look, smell, and sound. All of these things can be controlled by you. Your voice, even the way your tone, the pitch of your voice. It is proven that when a woman is if she likes a man, her voice goes up a few pitches. Like when she addresses him, her voice will go up a few pitches. Have you noticed that if you go to Starbucks, all the women they have super high pitched voices, you know? And they're like, I can't do it because I can't do it because it's late at night and my voice isn't the best right now. So let me see. Frank says that he's been living in the Middle East for 5 years as a U.S. expat. Nice. Everything Everyday podcast said same thing with certain bold-headed men on YouTube. If you buy your wife a new Porsche, you should be good. Lol. Is someone trying to be? Is someone taking a shot at Anton? You guys cannot do that. Anton's not here to defend himself. Mel says, "Oh hell no! It's not a job for a man to make a woman feminine. Precisely. That's her job and her fellow women to train her. Correct. And like I said before, men can't make a feminine woman. It takes women to show women how to be a proper woman. A man can only mold you into his liking, and that is, yeah." Everything Every Day says he may not have made you that way, but he is enjoying it due to his wealth. That is not true. That's not true. Because the way that I act does not depend on my husband's bank account. I have acted this way since I've been a kid. This has nothing to do with how much money is it. And I hate when people say that. People act as if you can only give a certain amount of respect to a man based on his bank account. That, we cannot degrade men to their money, to how much money they have. Men deserve the respect just for being men, especially if he's a good man. He respects you, he takes care of you, he deserves your respect no matter what. And if there is a moment that he can't take care of you, still respect is the least that you can do, and it's free. Let me see. Teddy BTK says, Ameera, you need to be clear about what parameters submissive is. Can you repeat that question like in a different word? Because I kind of understand what you mean, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Why do you think Western women are not feminine? I mentioned that in the last live stream that we did about iron cutting iron, or iron being able to sharpen iron, is because I believe that there's too much mixing in the United States of the genders. Men don't have their own place where they can go and be just men, and women don't have their place where they can just go and just be women. Everything in this country is mixed, and I think that is causing men to be more feminine and women to be more masculine. I had mentioned to you all about how in our culture, I just came back from a wedding just right now. So I'm going to give you guys an example. I just came back from a wedding right now. When you go to Middle Eastern weddings, you will see when you enter the venue, beautiful venue, everything is nice, and you will see the bride and groom in front of you. And on the left side, you will see the women, and on the right side, you will see the men. This is how we have our weddings. We can all see one another, but we are not intermingling because there's a certain respect that we have for one another. This is how we keep women feminine, men masculine, because once you're mixing amongst one another too much, women start talking like men. Have you guys noticed that? Have you ever been at a party or where people are playing cards or what have you, and men tend to talk a certain way? Men have deeper voices. Men, there's just different ways that men speak. They're more aggressive. They sit differently. Everything is different. So, have you noticed that women, after hanging around the men for too long or playing cards with them too long, all of a sudden, you notice that woman, her voice has deepened, even just by the slightest. Her voice starts deepening. Then she starts speaking like the men because that's who she's around. What do you all think about that? Hi, Dominant Man. It's my Loyal says my birthday wish. Richard says the feminist movement killed women in the nuclear family. They want power over us. 404 says also we live in a pro LGBTQ culture. that's a whole nother topic. That's, I don't know how far JR will let me go on the channel with that one, but that's a whole nother culture. I mean, a whole nother, what is it? A whole nother live stream. Frank says the belief system is very crucial, especially for Muslims. Each person has a role and carries out their purpose. Precisely, precisely. And I think that's where Americans have gotten lost. Nobody knows their purpose or what they're supposed to be doing anymore. It's kind of sad. I mean, it's kind of sad. It's very sad, pardon. It's very sad because when you have a bunch of confused people, no one knows who's supposed to be doing what, and no one wants to be assigned a role because then they feel like they're being boxed in or trapped into something. And it's like, this is how humans have done it for centuries. And do we think that we're so smart now in this 21st century that we know it all, that we can just rewrite human interactions? It's just, you can see how well it's working. It's not working well at all. Give me a moment. JB just got here. Hi, JB. He said, I want to protect Eastern women. They are virtuous women. Eve was a helpmate to her husband. She obeyed until Satan set her up. There was something, I don't know if I want to, maybe, okay, I will speak lightly about this because we don't want to go too deep into biblical terms or anything, but when you see the story of Adam and Eve and what happened, it kind of speaks on how Satan, or let's say bad energy, bad will, what have you, how bad energy enters a family. It typically enters through the woman because I don't really know the reason why, but if you notice, this is usually how things enter. That's why they say the woman that you choose to marry and continue your life with is very, very important because she can make this man, like, how can I say, she can encourage better or she can bring a man down. So it's really important to find the woman that is not faking her femininity, especially like women who have conditional femininity, who say like, if you do this, then I'll treat you this way. We were talking on our first live stream, someone, I think it was Courtney and Kay, that had brought up money, and they said, well, in the Middle East, the men, a lot of times they have a lot of money, and this is why the women are more submissive and so on. And it took me a minute to think about that because I didn't just want to respond like, no, that's not true. But as I took a minute to think on that and look at my family and look at the families around me, I realized that's not true because a lot of them live middle class lives and even lower class lives. You will not see that the woman is conditional. In our culture, the woman is not conditional based on her husband's bank accounts. Even if she has to work, she's still very feminine. This is not something we can just turn on and off, ladies. This should not be a discussion. There should not be a discussion of if this, then that. It shouldn't be this way. We should embrace that. And this is what makes us unique. Another thing about femininity that I wanted to bring up is that a lot of people see femininity as weakness. They say, well, being feminine just means that you're a damsel in distress. You're just sitting around waiting for a man to come save you. Femininity does not mean that you are just a sitting duck. It doesn't mean that. It only means that you know your limits and you know that, you know that there are men here to lead. You don't have to do everything for yourself. And you are okay and comfortable with stepping back. Someone once said, real power is in what you don't do. So there's a lot of power in being feminine and knowing when to or when to just step back and say, this is something that I can let the men handle. The men can handle this. Trust in your men. Trust that man. I believe that the more you let your men be men, especially here in America, if we let our men be men, they will take over. One thing I want to bring up really quickly, and I know this is controversial, but I must say it because it's, like I said, it's been on my mind. We were speaking about wages and men's wages and how men can't take care of their family on one salary today, and that's why women need to work, and that's why women have become more masculine. I've been thinking about that as well. One thing I want to tell you all is this. If, this is just my theory, if all women in America left the workforce next month, you finish out your month of work and then you put in your letter of resignation, all of us leave, all of the women who want to be traditional, all of the women who want to be traditional and who want to have a husband and want to actually take care of their homes, we leave the workforce next month. Beginning in September, no traditional women are working. That means women are going to be at home. They're going to be studying agriculture, going to be learning how to garden properly and bear fruit, going to be learning how to teach their children at home, going to be learning how to knit and bake and all kinds of things. Yeah. We're going to dedicate ourselves to traditional skills and learning how to be better women at home. Watch how wages will raise for men. Just watch. Watch how wages will raise. And men, believe it or not, this is how I think. I do believe that men, if they saw that women were taking themselves out of the workforce and they were dedicating themselves to what women naturally do, I do believe that there will be more marriages in this country because with that extra money that men will be having because wages have risen, they will be willing to take on a woman more. And especially knowing that that woman is coming with those skills that she has been dedicating her time to practicing. What do you all think about that? I want to see what you guys are saying. BTK says chicken or the egg. Rigorous says, I am a black man and just rather have a woman who won't a man these days. It seems like black women want to be with a woman, not a man. Richard says, I have feminist cousin who wanted a masculine man, a traditional man. What? And she was a feminist? Strange. Have you all noticed? Okay, well, I'll just go through the things first and then I'll get back to it. Thank you, Derek. Hey, Lucky. Lucky is here. Hey, girl. Red Bull says, there is a great deal of wisdom that rests in femininity. How many beautiful, great feminine women have lived in the past that we can learn from? Dim Detox says, OS, the homie got her own segment. What? Dim Detox. Oh my god. Chaos says, yes, that makes dollars and cents. And Protoy says, we are starting to lose our culture and femininity in our women due to the toxic feminism exported by the West. Wow. G-Man said, wow, I actually said the same thing 2 weeks ago. So this has been on other people's minds too. The idea that women should just drop it. Just drop the whole working, drop the whole I'm going to school to learn this or that. Drop it. If you want to go to school, sure, go to school. But keep your career to be helpful to your husband. I want to talk about something about myself personally here because a lot of people are confused about it. People are asking, do I have a job outside of YouTube? I do. I do. I work for my husband. My husband is my employer. I started working for my husband around a year ago. And like I said, this is just me being a proper wife. I prefer working under my husband than any other job position I had before. I went to law school. I wanted to be a lawyer. So I became a paralegal probably around 22. No, 21. I was 21. So around 21, 22, I became a paralegal because I love law. I was a paralegal in two fields. One was bankruptcy and foreclosure, so I got to see people getting their houses taken from them after divorces and so on. I also was a paralegal in, how can I say this, a family court firm. So that was difficult for me to see, especially as a conservative woman, as a woman who values tradition. You have to imagine the torture for me every day to see these lawyers that defended these women and just milk men dry of everything they've ever earned, everything they've ever worked for, and took the children away. And seeing the children be used as pawns, I saw that every day. So pardon me if I'm not a feminist. These are things that I speak on because I've seen them. And seeing that, it makes you see things differently, especially when people are so focused on love and this whole idea of being in love and you have to love. If you don't have the love, then you can't have a marriage. After working in that kind of law firm and seeing divorces happen this way, you love is not enough. I'll just leave it there. Love is not enough. um let's see. Let me see. Hafsa says, if they quit their jobs, how would they pay their bills? I mean, there's many ways to pay your bills, especially if you have family. I recommend the families staying together. This is how we didn't have to work, because we stay with our families. Keep the family unit together. The more you are together, the less each one has to do on their own. Be together until you get married. After you get married, then you work under your husband. But I know a lot of people say, well, I don't have a family, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. This is something that we all have to fix in the West, because this is a huge Western issue. Um, BTK says, feminists want stay-at-home husbands. Ooh, yeah. But then they will never respect them. That's the problem. BTK says, a lot of lying goes on in family court. Yeah, you have an idea. You know how it is. It's really bad. And then Dem Detox says, there isn't anything feminine about feminism. It's masculinity, communist doublespeak. The commies always label things the opposite of what it is. Tyranny is freedom. Up is down. Truth. Ministry is lies. The Ministry of Truth. Oh man, 1984. 1 minute, guys. D says, now you are seeing men drain their rich wives dry. Oh, yeah. I saw that too. The woman works hard to make millions, then the man manages her and her money, cheats, and then makes her pay spousal support. I would feel bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like that karma thing. Do you know what I mean? I think that the family court should be changed. The whole system should be changed completely. People are using the divorces and the problems and failed family structures to get rich off of it. It's a business. It's a business. And that's what I saw working in those firms, is that lawyers seeing all of this stuff happening, they're just like getting richer and richer off of it. And I'm like, how do you sleep at night? P Good says, I was raised in a household where my mother went further in her education but was still a traditional feminine housewife. So it is possible, but now how rare it was now that I'm older. Oh, now you know how rare it was now that you're older. Right. Right. It's really sad, guys. So what do you all think about what I'm speaking about the whole femininity being a luxury, and femininity being used or flourishing when there's wealth around? It's only like when the man has money, then you can give him your feminine soft side. But if he doesn't, then he gets uh, combativeness, rudeness, snarkiness, all of this, because he doesn't have the bank account that you want. I've had people ask me the same question. Okay, Ameera, well, what if your husband didn't make money, or what if this, or what if that? And it's like, There are so many solutions to different things, but one thing that I will not do is change who or what I am because he doesn't have money. I'm not going to change myself. He met me this way, and this is how I will be. I mean, of course, I will grow and I will mature, but as for those core values within myself or my core feminine self, I can't change it because this is who I am. I mean, this is how it should be seen. Emmanuel says, "What skills should housewomen have?" Housewomen, housewives are everything. They're everything to a home. They are what makes the heart of the home beat. You have no idea. Well, you might have an idea. I don't know, but I can give you just a sample of the life of a housewife. When I was a housewife, before I started working under my husband, I still kind of am a housewife, but I still work under my husband right now. When I was a housewife, I have a video up on my channel as well with part of my day as a housewife. Um, every every few days, I was baking bread, fresh bread for the home. I garden. I tend to my garden every day, making sure that I'm growing fresh tomatoes, fresh peppers, fresh onions, fresh potatoes. Everything is grown at my home. Not only did I grow fruits and veggies, I also grew flowers just to make things beautiful, just to give an environment like, how can I say, that feeling like you come home and you can smell flowers outside. You come inside the house smells like fresh bread, baking. I iron, I knit, anything that I need for my husband. If there's something that's torn, if he tore something, I knit everything back. I don't just throw things away if it's not necessary. things things that are in the home, they have to be done in a particular way. Women, we know how to do this naturally. 1 minute. Brother Grundy says, Ameera is correct. Femininity should not be this flexible. I don't understand how it ever was flexible. Can you guys imagine a man saying, I will be masculine for the perfect woman? I will be masculine for the proper woman. If there's a woman that isn't, let's say, if she isn't pretty enough, then I won't be masculine. How silly, Charlie? No. How silly does that sound? Would you like? What would we think about that man? Now, just think about it. This is how men probably feel when women are saying, "I will be feminine and I will be submissive just for the right person." What? You mean you're going to change your whole personality? You're going to change exactly who you are, and you're going to be able to do that effectively when he has enough money, and you're going to be able to do that consistently without wavering. No, you can't. You just can't, because eventually the real you will show. Eventually, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose your frame, and that is something that men definitely do not want. They don't want to see the woman that they thought is this feminine goddess wake up one day and turn into this. Oh my god, I can't even. Oh my god, I can't even say, like, no. It's just no. You should, that should never happen. If this is who you are, this is who you are. I want to ask you guys this: do you think that a person who, a woman, a woman who has grown up in her masculine, do you think that with time, effort, and dedication, that she can be trained out of this? Maybe going through etiquette courses, or taking time and retreating to be around women only. Retreating to, we got a super chat. Um, do you think that that woman can be changed? Do you think that, I don't know. I'm asking you guys this, and I'm going to read your answers. I'm asking you this. Do you think that she can change for good? Or do you think that any change will just be out of effort, and that in the right moment, or the wrong moment rather, she can change back into that? What do you think? I want to read the super chat. Give me a minute. Mr. D says, I love your disposition and your honesty. Keep up the good work. Fit femininity and able to grow vegetables. This is awesome. It really is. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your super chat. Guys, I've noticed that a lot of things that we are taught as Middle Eastern women are not taught to American women, and that is such a disservice to the culture, the American culture. It's such a disservice because women make the culture. We make culture. Do you guys know that? Do you realize that? We women are the ones that hold the culture. That's something that we know in our culture. We know that women are the ones who hold the keys to the culture because women are the ones that are going to culture the children. She's going to be the one to speak to them in either her language, her dialect, her accent that that child is going to grow up speaking. That's going to be the first thing that he hears. She's going to be the one teaching him these things, teaching him or her. Okay, answers to my question. So the question was, do you think that a woman who has been grown up in her masculinity, that she can be changed with dedication, effort, and time? Do you think that she can be changed forever and not be just a facade or effort, that it can actually be a natural thing eventually with time, dedication, and effort? Okay, so Rigorous says no. Method and Madness says yes. G-Man says no. Richard says masculine character on a woman is satanic. Jesus Christ save my... Okay. The UK Investor says yes. And he says, if she watches women like you think so? That's a huge compliment to me. G-Man says, I would definitely be out of effort to probably get married and get a child. Then, when she is tired, she goes back to who she was before and leaves the man. Yikes. Let me see. Female Energy says, we're all over the place over here. Are we really? I don't think so. I think people are following along pretty good. BTK says, etiquette helps to a degree, but it won't feel comfortable nor look right. Do you think so? Because I went to finishing school, and I think it looks pretty natural. I mean, I don't think, well, I don't know. Conscious Kin says, a woman can do her best to fit the expectation of what a man truly needs, but in time of tension, her true character will show. Yes, that's true. Because arguments happen, fights happen, bad days happen where you just wake up and you're not in a good mood. And just because you're having a bad day and just because a woman gets upset does not make her masculine. That's not what I'm saying. Just because a woman expresses her anger in a way doesn't make her masculine. It all depends on how that's coming out. And it also depends on the intention behind her, the way she's acting. You know, combativeness and just disagreeableness for no reason, that is just too much. Wait 1 second. Mr. D says, some women can fake it. Can you tell us how we can know the real from the fake? I honestly don't know. I really don't know, because it all comes out in time. It's like you will never know. You will never know if a person is just upset or if you just can't tell. Honestly, I think it takes actually being with that person for a long time, preferably living with that person, or take a vacation with that person, get to see how they really are. That is, Mr. Few says yes, they can change for the good. And Rigorous says, you and Courtney are both beautiful women. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know Courtney's gorgeous. Marvin says, I believe it can be done, but it will require effort, and her environment must support her change. See, that's where I don't know, because, putting the blame on the environment and saying that, the environment is going to be what changes her, I kind of agree, but then I kind of don't, because we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a second. Pardon. John says, I'll say start with the new youth little girls because the ones over 25 are kind of already set in their ways. You have to catch them while they're really young to train them to be feminine. Yeah, I think that's something to, yeah, from young training. Renee says she can definitely be changed, but it'll require her choosing to do it every day. That's dedication. And Ang says it will take years. I'm being honest. Wow, Ang. He says it will take years, and I understand that this is a lot of work for most modern women, including myself. Even still, that modern woman will jump out if triggered. Just the way you described it, it's like in my mind, I just saw like this woman coming out from behind her and just like jumping out. That was funny. Oh man. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes people word things in a way that it's like, wow. 1 minute. I'm going to go back to the bottom of the. Oh, Drew Beat says, you can't tell until they're upset. Yeah. And also extreme excitement, too. Extreme excitement can also bring out the real. Mm. Oh, man. Okay. So, right. BTK says, but you're feminine to begin with. That class was only for polish. Oh, yeah. No, I've always been this way, but I don't know why my parents did that. I think it was my grandfather who recommended that I go to finishing school. I think he just wanted me to be able to fit in and not look like an animal when I eat at the dinner table or something, because when I was really young, I used to like to sit at the dinner table and put my leg up like this, and I used to like to eat like this. My cereal, my anything, I would just eat it like this with my leg like this. So, of course, it was improper, and they were like, "No, we have to fix this." So I was sent to finishing school. Oh, female energy. Okay, now I understand what you meant when you said we're all over the place here. Okay, I thought you meant in the chat, in the stream, but she says no, not the stream. She meant in America. We have so many different types of women and men. It was a response to something she said earlier. Oh, okay. Regarding the different types of women and men, people are saying that I think we're gonna go maybe 15 more minutes, and then I have to go. Someone was saying that gender is a spectrum. People are saying that gender is a spectrum, and things kind of get blurry in the middle and all of this. And I just wonder why we didn't have this back, I don't know, let's say 100 years ago. Things weren't seen this way. Things weren't, divided on a gender spectrum. That's not how it was. Either you were a woman or you were men, and you're expected to know your role and to know your place as such. This is why we have this confusion in current the current Western world is pardon me guys, I'm sorry. This is why we have this confusion in the current modern world, is because nobody knows their role anymore. Nobody knows. And also, even if you do know your role, you don't want to accept your role because you don't want to feel like you're boxed in. This is a problem in the United States right now, and this is a lot of reasons why we have divorces as well, because the woman, she doesn't know her place anymore, because she'd rather be out there making money, she'd rather be doing her own thing and not feeling like she's tied down, while the man is like, wait a minute, that's my place. I'm not going to just, change roles with you. I'm not going to be the one sitting at home and cooking and cleaning and so on, because I want to get out there and hunt. I want to do what men do. Things were so much easier when we all knew what was expected of us. Do you know what I mean? Everyone knew. BTK says I've given up on Kay. You cannot give up on my sister. She is doing just fine. Rigor Gus says, can you and Courtney do a show together? I'm pretty sure we will one day. I'm pretty sure. Because like I said, Courtney, she has a lot of conservative views that I'm sure that we can agree on. And like I said to Anton, I'm pretty sure that we can have some pretty fire conversations, me and her. There's not much that we disagree on, I think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but um, yeah. But I don't feel like we're as aligned as I thought we were. But I'm curious to have a conversation with her and get her viewpoint on certain things, just to, kind of pick her brain a little bit and see what she thinks about this or that, and to see how deep into a rabbit hole she's willing to go with me. So that would be awesome to have that kind of conversation where she would just let me pick her brain a little bit. Um, Chaos says the purpose of a woman, period, is to help her man according to God. Right. We are supposed to be the helpers, the assistant. Mr. D says, I think a feminine woman will have to be willing to be dependent on her man. In that, yes, yes, yes. Again, can I just say yes? Can the church say amen? Can I get a mean? Yes. Can I repeat that? I'm going to repeat that. I think a feminine woman will have to be willing to be dependent on her man. It's not that you have to be dependent, but you should be willing to be dependent on your man. I agree with that. You should be willing to be able to just let it go and say, this is where we're going. If my man says we're going north, even though I think we should be going east, we're going north. We're going north. And the kids asking, Mommy, why are you mad? Shush, we're going north. That's just what Daddy said, and don't look at me right now. We're going north. You should be willing to do it. Even if you don't have to, you have to be willing to do it and let it all go. In their masculinity, they behave way too independent. Agreed. Recluse says, there is a saying, you do not truly know someone until you fight them. Well, that's what we saw in the divorce courts as well, in the family courts rather. We saw that you didn't know who you married until you divorced them. And that, ugh, my goodness. I divorce doesn't happen in my culture, as it really, it's a rare thing. Either someone has to die or it just doesn't happen. It's, yeah. Mr. Twillo, I did not see your question. I do apologize. You asked me to answer it, but I did not see it. So hold on one second. Female Energy says, thank you, Renee. Female Energy says, we want to be dependent on men, but it hasn't been something a lot of us have seen or even have the chance to experience. Then what do you do? I understand what you're saying, Female Energy, but what do you do? What do you do when you haven't seen it or you don't know what it looks like? Can't we look to one another? Can't we look to, I know you guys don't like when I say this, but if you haven't seen it at home, then you have to find wherever it's happening and gather your knowledge from there. Does that make sense? Like, if you didn't see it at home, it's happening around the world. So why not go to where it's happening and watch and observe and see? Do you know what I mean? I think that's the only way to do it, unless there's a different way. And that's why a lot of people, I saw like when a lot of people were saying before, like, you don't want to learn from a different culture because other cultures have problems and so on and so forth. But it's like, you're not picking up a whole culture. You're not taking on the bad of another culture. You're taking whatever is good from another culture and you're leaving the bad. That's the point. Because a lot of people, when we're talking about me or we're talking about marriage in the East, I was just explaining how marriage is done in the East. But there was this question of like, well, what's bad in the East? The Eastern culture is not perfect, and no one ever said it was. But one thing that we do have that's good in the East is our family structures, and our culture is solid. So that's one thing that others can pick up from us, and you can leave the Taliban, you can leave ISIS, you can leave whatever else bad we have. You can leave the camel dung. You don't have to take on that, but you can take the good things from our culture or our peoples. Take the good and drop the bad. You don't have to take on the bad stuff from us. So when people are asking like, yeah, well, what's the bad stuff in the Middle East? Oh, in Lebanon here, or Lebanon that. Does that really matter? At this point, we're talking about the good things that we can share. I'm sorry for ranting, guys. I didn't mean to rant there. Dion says, outside of your husband, what is a woman's purpose in your religion? Outside of her husband is God. You are to serve God, and then you're supposed to serve your husband. But part of serving your husband is serving God. So when you serve your husband, it's like serving God in our religion. Sir Chai says, will you and Courtney be on Thursday? I believe so. I never know who's really going to be on because, like I said, JR is a genius, and I trust whatever he wants us to do, and I may be there, I may not. Courtney may, she may not, I don't know. Drew Beat says, eat the meat and spit out the bones. Thank you. And that's why I say, like, when we want to focus on the bad of this or the bad of that, it's like, what do we gain? Are we really gaining anything? We're talking about marriage, but you want to know the bad things about Lebanon, and it's like, okay, but what does that have to do with what we're speaking about? We're speaking about marriage and the different ways to do it. So that's what I was thinking. I don't know. Chaos says it's hard to learn from someone if you're jealous of them. See, that's the thing. We cannot be jealous of a different culture because they got it right. You know, if the person got it right, we shouldn't be jealous of them, because we should say, well, this is something that is good. And it is hard to not be jealous, because I feel that all the time. Like when I see other things, like if I look in China, sometimes in China you see their buildings, their structures, and their art and all of this, and I always wish that like Middle East could have that kind of art and stuff, but we don't, and it's kind of jealous. Dem Detox says there is literally a channel on TikTok named Ho College. She teaches women how to be hoes, like literally college course material. What? Really? I I don't put anything past it. I don't put anything past this world. This is oh man. Skit says it's hard, but you can learn from others. Yeah, I believe that too. There's things that I don't know how to do that I have to learn from others myself too. Female Energy says we work like men and take his place. Women can never take the place of a man. We can never do it. No matter if we think. Can I say something really quickly? No matter how hard a woman thinks she's working, it's more than likely she's not working harder than the man that works in the same field that she's working. For some reason, it's just like that. That's just the way it is, because men, they have, what is it called? The higher endurance. They have a higher endurance than women. Like they can endure the stress, the sleepless nights, the pressure, the workload. They can endure these things better than women. It's a natural thing that's in them. So I've seen women complain like, I do the same job and I do it just as good as him. Most likely you don't. Most likely you don't. There are outliers, but the majority of us women, we don't work as hard as men. We just don't. And I think it's just a natural, the way our bodies are set up. Women, we need sleep. We can't sleep 3 hours a night and function normally for years at a time. There are men who do that for years. They will sleep 2 3 hours 4 hours a night for years and live like normal. They'll go to work, they'll come home, they'll take care of their wife, take care of the kids, and still be thriving at work. A woman cannot do that. We can't, because the way our bodies are set up is we need our rest. We have these hormones that just kick our asses every month. We have periods. We have just all kinds of things. It's just we're not meant for it. We're just not meant for it. There's a certain amount of stress that women are meant to handle, and it's nothing compared to the level of stress that men are equipped to handle. Renee says, I agree. Before I got married, I was completely independent. I'm now a housewife and homeschooling. I'm 29. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh my God, I almost got tears in my eyes. Richard says, I respect the Middle East, protect their families and culture. See, that's what I said. That's one thing we got right. And that's one thing that everyone can learn. Asians got it right too. But Asians now are starting to waver. But Asians got it right too. They got the family structure right. They got the hierarchy completely locked down. In Asia, hierarchy is very important. The age is what matters in Asia, the age of the person. Same thing in our culture too, but in Asian culture, like Chinese or Japanese culture, it is so strict. Like there's certain ways you just can't talk. Even if your sibling is 1 or 2 years older than you have to treat them as your elder. And that's something that we don't have here in America. You see, have you seen Kevin Samuel's show? There are women that are half or even three times his junior. Does that make sense? There are women that are half Kevin's age, and they speak to him as if they were on the same age level. They speak to him like, I'm like, there's no different. There's no. It's crazy, and it's like there's no separation of this. I'm not finding the right words, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Mm, I'm reading your message. Skit says Asian hide their pain and issues at home. Right, right, that's true. Someone said Asians they give you a whole bunch of psychological damage from childhood because they push you so hard and they make sure you get honor roll all the time. But they say it's okay, you can fix your psychological issues later as an adult. You can cry in your Bentley, okay, when you get older. You can cry about how we treated you later in your Mercedes or your Bentley or what have you. Wait. Men will go where they're celebrated, says G Man. I agree. Are you guys ready to go to bed now? Because yes, it is Sunday night and we do have work in the morning. And I think we're at what, 58 minutes now? So we have 2 more minutes. Are you guys ready for sleep? Differentiation. Differentiation. Thank you, brother Grandi. Differentiation. La diferenciación. La diferenciación. Do you guys know I speak Spanish? Did you guys know I speak Spanish fluently? I used to live in Colombia, so I do speak Spanish completely fluently. Um, Rikla says there is definitely a lack of honor and respect in this era towards men and male leadership. Yeah, in fact, people here treat men as if they're just these things that you can just get and throw away as you please. We do not treat men like that in our culture, and I wish that they would change it here. I wish that they would value men more because men suffer so much in this country and it goes unnoticed. It's completely unnoticed. And yes, I'm a men's rights activist. I am a men's rights activist simply because I tend to believe that we should protect those that are being harmed. And right now, I don't see women being harmed. I see men being harmed in this culture of today. Maybe at one time, women were the ones being harmed the most. But right now, in 2021, it's men. What city in Colombia? Bogota. I used to live in Bogota. Yes, I lived in Bogota. Yes, thank you, BTK. Yes, Teddy. He said Asians don't use terms like brother, but they have names divided by seniority. Correct. We have the same thing, and even in Spanish, they have it too, where if you know, with a person that is your age, you can call them tú, but a person that is older, you can never call them tú. That means you. Tú means you. You can never call them tú. You have to call them usted. Usted. Usted is the proper way to address a person who is older in Spanish. You cannot just speak any kind of way. Thank you, G-Man. Thank you. I do stick up for men, and that's why I get criticized on my channel as well, because I am a men's rights activist, and um, I see what's happening. Okay, guys, are you guys ready to go to bed now? Dem Detox says, between the violence, the crime, and the divorce courts, losing custody and job death rates, doing more time for the same crime as a woman, the constant responsibility to provide, it's crazy. And that's just a few to name on the list. I mean, there's a lot more. Suicide rates, the homelessness of men. Men are the main ones that are homeless, although women are becoming more homeless now. Um, yeah. BTK says Meredith is up. No, tell her I have to go. I'm so sorry, guys. I really gotta go. We cannot be up like it's Friday night. It is not Friday night. We are adults here, I'm assuming, and we have to adult tomorrow. So we have to go to bed. Okay? Gracias por pasar esta noche conmigo. Gracias por hablarme de estos temas. Y bueno, me encanta hablar con ustedes de cualquier tema. Siempre, siempre ustedes me dan, ¿cómo le digo? Ustedes me dan algo que necesito, algo que yo necesito que no puedo tener de otra forma. Ustedes son mi, ¿cómo digo? I want to say you guys are like my motivation in a way. It's like motivation. It's like my therapy. Ustedes son mi terapia. This is like therapy for me because I'm able to bounce ideas off of you all, and I'm assuming you guys are being honest with me too. So, good night, guys. Thank you for joining me on this late night live stream. I appreciate you all sticking with me tonight, and I hope to see you all this week. We should have a few things coming up. I don't want to say anything because JR has his own plans, but we should have a few things coming up this week in the channel, and I hope you enjoy. And with that, I yield my time. Good night, guys.